The first time I ever heard about the Pentagon, I was watching Transformers back in 2007, and the idea that I got was that it was this magnanimous building designed to coordinate the defense systems of the United States of America, and also do all their planning for unjustified invasions of foreign countries. Now, the Pentagon is used to call TV shows woke garbage. When I read the Pentagon themselves called Netflix's Boots woke garbage, I knew that I had to check it out. Surely, the show must be incredibly progressive, borderline stupid for the Pentagon to be putting out statements themselves, right? Or is this just another instance of the American government calling something they don't like woke? Let's find out. Boots follows a closeted young man who in 1990 joins the Marine Corps with his best friend, hoping to find a way out of a small town. It's based on the book The Pink Marine, a memoir by Greg Cope White. I went into this fully expecting to hate it for a very simple reason. I hate the military, armies, etc. But particularly from the United States, looking at it from the outside, it looks like a huge scam. It's basically this ginormous, well-funded military complex that promises you a better future, work, education, discipline, routine, a purpose. And in return, you just have to volunteer your life in case your country decides to invade another. Unjustified. And all these military war zone movies are military propaganda. They're not just telling you what you can become, they're showing you what you can become. They're showing you the honor it is to fight for your country, your freedom, your loved ones, protect the world at home. It's pure propaganda to make you feel like you can find purpose in the most unlikely places. And Boots is like that, but for gays. Look how much this gay changed and grew up. Look how strong he became when it was illegal for gays to enlist. Imagine now that nobody gives a fuck. Is that what's woke? Sanitizing the dirty work of the Marines for all the queers out there who have always dreamed of serving in the military but weren't sure if the other boys would be mean to them? Or is it woke because it has a gay in it? If anything, they should call Boots military propaganda, because that's what it is. Because why am I, a gay man, kind of low-key into the idea of this boot camp? No, really, I was watching and I kept thinking, damn, they're working out a lot. If I did this for like a year, I would get so fucking ripped. And that is probably the gayest thing I'll say today. But then I remember that you get ripped by training how to kill men, and also getting yelled at and debased by grown men whose entire personality is wanting to die for their country. And suddenly I remember why I'm anti-military. So to answer the question, is it woke? No. But it is annoying that official government bodies are applying the same critical thinking a comatose meth addict would if you ask them the same question. But back to Boots. I went into it expecting to hate it, but I kinda loved it. The show starts off a bit rocking for the first few episodes. I did find myself looking at the clock, but after a while it kind of picks up, and then the second half of the season is far superior. And once they get into that nice rhythm, it is so much fun to watch. The show handles some darker themes and does get quite heartbreaking at times, but overall it's quite inspiring and positive. I almost feel compelled to go for a run or socialize and find my platoon. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still an antisocial monster. But what works really well for the show are the very well-defined, well-constructed characters. We get a very good variety of different walks of life, and though we could have delved deeper at times, we get to visit some of these characters' pasts, like in Orange is the New Black. You know, each episode we get flashbacks of someone. And everyone is so individually unique, we get some really good interactions and moments out of it. It's also a good time to state that back then it was illegal to be queer and serve, unless what you're serving is tenacity, ferociousness, and looks, in which case queer people have always had a duty to serve. But no, back then it was fully illegal. So like if a man who enjoyed sucking dick enlisted in the Marines, he could fully go to prison. And isn't that quite crazy to think about? If you think about it, a cornered gay is so much more powerful than a cornered straight. If you think about it, you put the gays in the army and they are gonna serve looks, but also slay. We have a lot of pent up rage. Like, don't underestimate a 90-pound twink. And despite the core of the story being Cameron being closeted in the Marines, I never really felt like his secret was at any risk of being exposed. In fact, for a gay-focused series, the series is incredibly not gay. Apart from a sassy inside voice that Cameron exhibits at times and a few other closeted cases, we don't really explore gay that much, and I think that's fine. I don't think the purpose of the story is to explore the gay side of the story, but rather the finding your better self through adversity and challenges. So it's not really woke. It's just propaganda. And once it expands and starts including other characters that aren't Cameron, we really get to focus on these secondary characters. And I gotta say, at times I kind of forgot that Cameron was our protagonist, which is good and bad. You know, it's good that you have very interesting secondary characters that make the story so interesting, but also it's really bad that your main character is the most boring of them all. And through these various characters, we explore different reasons why everyone enlisted in the Marines, you know, whether it be for purpose, honoring family traditions, proving one's worth, providing a better life to a partner, or simply avoiding a worse path. Everyone has a different reason to be here, different motivations, triggers, and that's what makes this so much more than just the story of a closeted Marine. It's the story of Marines full stop, told by someone who happens to like munching butt. But now everyone loves munching butt, so you're welcome. Even the straights are munching butt, and we're still complaining about the gays. My God. Can't have anything nice. And it also has some really good moments that build as the story unfolds, and a couple times it did get me emotional. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's certainly a cozy watch, almost cozy. Like, it challenges you, but not enough to make you uncomfortable, and it never lets go of that feel-good sensation that you're watching a positive coming of age. It's completely out of character that I'm recommending a piece of military propaganda, but here we are. Yeah, but let's talk about the setup. Our main character is Cameron Cope, a closeted gay teen from Louisiana. He is scrawny, insecure, self-conscious, and whiny. I don't like him. I don't like it. But let me explain, okay? Because I'm not just homophobic for no reason. No, I saw myself quite a lot in Cope, particularly how much of a non-confrontational pushover he is, like borderline pathetic. Everyone around him is a threat, there's no safe spaces anywhere, and life feels genuinely impossible to survive. But like Cope takes it to an extreme. He is just particularly whiny and annoying. He lives with his mother and brother, and he feels invisible. His only friend, Ray, is the only human he's ever come out to as gay. And at the end of high school, with no money to move or to go to college, Cameron feels trapped, stuck. No way out. It's 1990. The gays aren't thriving. One thing Boots did really well was portraying this feeling of being closeted, of hiding who you truly are. Like, Cameron talks of feeling like he's two people, you know, the one who's getting his head shoved in the toilet, and the other one he has to hide, his flamboyant self, this diva right here. And now you know every gay man has an alternate personality with loose hips. And Ray, his friend, enlisted in the Air Force but left months after joining due to an eyesight problem, or so he says, and they decide to both enlist in the Marine Corps. Ray to impress his father and continue the active duty tradition of his family, and Cameron because he's kind of convinced by Ray to give it a chance, and because this little advert convinced him that he too could look this hot. Never underestimate what a gay will do to look hot.
I want to be somebody else.
Oh, sorry, that made me sick a little bit. But Cameron enlists, and pretty quickly the story expands to all the other men in his training platoon. And from then onwards, we follow their basic training, from young, inexperienced boys to graduating Marines. And what a journey it is. Training. We need to talk about their training, because what the hell are we doing here? One thing's for certain. Okay, they're getting trained to kill. And training is intense in a very masculine way, like Drill Sergeant Howitt, for example, exists purely to scream at them.
You're my bitch now for the next 13 weeks, so on your face, now get down!
I would start swinging. It's the yelling, it's the insulting, the degrading, it's a bit much. There's this one scene where they're exposed to tear gas for practice, I guess. So they go to this like closed room, then they do jogging in place to get those heart rates really up and to get that breathing intense. And then they release the tear gas and they remove their masks just at the height of their little jog. So they're really breathing in that tear gas and just burning their insides. Does that not sound like the funnest thing to do with a couple of friends? And in the spirit of training, can we finally acknowledge that this is literally a cult? Okay, there's this scene during their rifle training where they recite what I am now calling the Rifle Bible. And I would like to read a transcript of it, a portion, a bit of it, a special reading of it. This is my rifle. There are many like it, but this one is mine. My rifle is my best friend. It is my life. I must master it as I must master my life. My rifle without me is useless. Without my rifle, I am useless. I must fire my rifle true. I will. Before God, I swear this creed. My rifle and I are the defenders of my country. We are the saviors of my life. So be it until victory is America's and there is no enemy but peace. The crazy part is, okay, until I said America, this could very well be the fighting words of many different groups. Islamic terrorists, Zionist terrorists, Swifties. It's really that last line of context that was so important. But from an outside perspective, it sounds like these American kids are being trained to kill, to defend the honor of their God Lord Emperor, America, this entity that is secretly just a bunch of billionaires. And the way they interact. Okay, let's get into the masculinity portion of this TED Talk, which I suspect is what ruffled the Pentagon's feathers.
This may be your last goddamn meal, and you skinny as hell. Find that shit you threw away and eat it, maggot.
Boys will be boys. The guys club, men's circle, locker room talk, toxic masculinity. Perhaps the most masculine thing this show does is the brown bomber challenge. So one day, one of the boys drops a massive stinker in the toilet and everyone admires the size of that rocket. The challenge is born. Who can best the size of this absolute Titanic? Who can rival this magnanimous turd with an even more magnanimous turd?
Call it the Brown Bomber Challenge.
And I would like to give props to Netflix for not actually showing us the turd, but luckily I had a mental picture prepared for an eventuality like this. There was one day I was walking around London with my dad and I had to go to some public toilets by the river, and I saw the biggest turd of my life. And I don't think it was human because, dare I say, it's impossible for a human to expel such a beast. It was the size of my forearm. And I'm not joking when I say the size of my forearm, okay? It was standing upright. So the base of the turd was on the bottom of the ceramic of the toilet, and it was just standing upright, right? So like the top of the turd was above the seat. This monster was just there, and I had to reckon with the notion that someone out there is walking around with the most loose bumhole. I know it's a muscle, but Jesus Christ. But also on the topic of buttholes, I say it's the most masculine thing that the show does because we don't talk enough about how absolutely disgusting some of the locker room talk is that isn't even sexual. So to see all these straight Marines basically agreeing to do this challenge of who can do the bigger shit is basically them just analyzing each other's butthole sizes without actually looking at each other's buttholes. And isn't that the gayest thing ever? I want to know how wide that thing can go, but like no homo, right? So let's just analyze each other's poops and see who can do a bigger one. And I'd like us all to sit with that concept just for a few seconds. Back to the training. One thing we can expect is drill sergeants yelling at scared recruits. It's almost like they're living their fantasies through these jobs, right? They were yelled at before when they were recruits, and now they get to yell at someone. And the cycle continues, and we all just kind of silently agree that this is how things are gonna go.
Disrespect my core! Live in Bill!
This is just what life has come to. We yell at each other in a cycle of yelling because we love yelling. Yeah. Essentially, Boots highlights the crisis that are men's vocal cords in the army.
Oh, you have lost your ever-loving mind, recruit!
Back to Howitt, you know, the one whose sole purpose is to yell at them.
I will shove my hand up your ass and pull it out your skull for you!
And then yell some more. And he's funny as shit.
How'd you do that? You grew up around guns. Your motherfucking M16.
And I think it was a deliberate decision to make him so comedic because it really helps to soften the blow of some of his one-liners. And even though something really bad happens, which I'll touch on, like no wonder men are so violent and aggressive. No wonder they commit most crimes, most murders, most violent crimes are committed by men. No wonder. Nothing about this way of training is conducive to peace or harmony.
Your wife is currently getting drilled by your brother, your cousin, and your dog in the back of a Ford Topaz. On your face and push and quit looking me in the eye.
One of the biggest arguments for joining the military is that it helps to build character and teaches young men about structure and discipline. Now, if you go into the military so you can have a better life and better opportunities with work, with higher education, etc., go for it. I mean, the United States was designed to make the military the best course of action for you to have a good life. And that's part of the scam. Make life so bad that without the military, you're basically fucked. So you have no choice. But if you're joining because you need to learn about discipline and routine, grow up. You're at least 18. Why do you need your life narrated by a screaming, bald, angry man? Also, what kind of discipline are we creating here?
Get up on that bar, you fat piece of shit.
And some will say, you need to toughen up and be ruthless to serve in the military. But do you need all that yelling to be ruthless? Oh, but it builds character, so you need to get yelled to have character? You need to be degraded every day to learn how tough life can be? The more I think about it, the more I'm like, they've created this insane system where they go through rituals of humiliation and abuse, both physical and verbal, just so they can come out the other side better equipped to kill and get better job opportunities. Like, you're putting yourself through torment so you can get stronger. So life was so easy for you that you literally have to create a system that will shout at you because you know life won't. So the military is a simulation of life where men are both the tops and the bottoms of society, so that they can finally experience some injustice. But just like the real world, in the end, they always end up winning because in the end, the system is designed to help them. They're yelled at, forced to exercise to exhaustion. Some are physically assaulted by insecure sergeants, debased, treated like scum, spoken to like scum. And you expect them to what? Come out of it with good morals and an appreciation for life? If I twist my neck any further, I'll be dead.
You better dive deep and retrieve your lost mind. He's shaking in his boots. I'm fucking disgrace.
But hands down, the best thing about the show are the characters. My favorite is Hicks. He is an absolute something path, like psychopath or sociopath. I don't know, one of them. He's just fun. Always up for anything, whether it's stealing toilet paper or murdering someone we don't like. He'll do anything for a laugh. Ray, Cameron's best friend and also only person that knows he's gay, was raised by his father in discipline and routine. This whole system they have in the Marines, Ray had his entire life. He's very good, but also very eager to be better and outperform himself to the point that he distances himself from Cameron just to better his chances of being a squad leader. It gets messy, but he's not a bad kid. He's actually pretty decent, and he goes through a good character arc where he learns how to fail. John and Cody are the focus of episode 2's flashbacks, and then they pretty much disappear, which I thought was a shame. They were shaping up to be my favorites. They have such an interesting dynamic. Like, John is overweight. Cody is a physical specimen. No, seriously, like, they're both built like wardrobes, but Cody's physique is actually insane. Hello. Like, what? How? As kids, John was there for Cody whenever he was scared and received more attention and affection from their mother, whereas Cody received more attention from his father, who saw him as a fit son as opposed to his other son, the fatty. And I can say that because I looked like this when I was 13. And then Cody would get beat up by his dad whenever John gained weight, which sounds like terrible parenting. Like, you're humiliating and degrading the son that gained weight, but you're also beating up the other one, the one that you like, the only one that likes you. What's the idea here? So now Cody resents John's existence, and John resents himself and is there to fight for his own life away from his fit brother's shadow. Then there's Ochoa, the most heartbreaking character of them all. Ochoa is this small guy. He's a bit camp, a bit gay, eager to make friends and become the best version of himself so he can provide for his wife, who he says is like just the biggest angel. He loves his wife so much, right? And everything that he's doing is about his wife. His whole purpose in life is his wife. And then during their rifle training, Ochoa discovers this innate talent he's got for sniping. He's going to be a sniper. He's got really good aim. And during their rifle training, the recruit who gets the best scores wins a phone call home. And Ochoa is desperate for this call so he can call his wife. Which leads to one of the best scenes of the season when Cameron finds Ochoa in the bathroom in the middle of the night, whimpering in pain because he's ill. However, he doesn't want anyone to find out because he wants to shoot the rifle the next day and win the day and win the phone call for his wife. At the same time, he's thinking about how Howitt told him that he was going to be a sniper because he's so good. And he says, what if that's not what I want? I didn't join the Marines to kill people. I know that sounds crazy, but I should have known. That's what they're training us to do. And what a great moment to really address the elephant in the room that is the Marines, Air Force, Army, whatever, all of these institutions, they're basically training you to kill. You're getting some perks out of it, sure, and you get to defend your country and all of that. But basically what they're doing objectively is training you to kill. And here is Ochoa, who is clearly here to be a man, to become a man. He's reckoning with the concept that to become the man his wife deserves, he has to learn how to kill men. Which is kind of fucked up if you think about it. Like, what a life. Here's what I wrote. Because the country designed itself so that the easiest way you can have a good life is to volunteer your life for it first. Crazy. Ochoa ends up winning the phone call, only for him to call his wife and find out she's got another man there. He then lashes out at Howitt, who quickly forces him to do push-ups or burpees, and Ochoa, who joined the Marines to provide his wife with the life she deserves, has a meltdown and overexerts himself until he collapses and literally dies. Oh my God. And Ochoa really did deserve better because the entire time he was nothing if not the nicest person in the room to literally everyone, and not a single person ever gave him the time of day. Even the people that he was closest with would still avoid him on a decent day. That was sad. Slovacek is also interesting. It's this guy. He got arrested for almost beating a man to death, and then he was offered a choice: 5 years in prison or Marine Corps. So the way to curb your prison sentence is to go to the same program that puts scrawny kids through hell. And then we have Sergeant Sullivan. Sullivan is the big baddie. Has a bunch of medals and decorations and recommendations. He's the golden child of the Marine Corps. The face of an angel and the body of a killing machine who part-times modeling for Calvin Klein. He has anger issues and often takes his frustrations out on his recruits. Likes to make others feel small so he's not the only one struggling. But he also has a very big gay aura about him. Or maybe it's his face. He has gay face. I don't know if the actor in real life is gay, but I know the character has gay face. I'm glad you agree. And in episode 3 and 4, it's alluded that he has a secret, and for a moment I genuinely thought that he had maybe killed someone at his previous station and now he was running away from the law. But then I remember this is not Jack Reacher, it's Boots. He does have gay face, so I don't know. He's gay and he's being investigated for it. Yes, Sullivan, as it turns out, is a closeted queen. His big secret is that he was sleeping with an officer at his previous outpost until rumors started circulating that the officer was gay. So to distance himself from the situation and avoid trouble, he ghosts the man he was supposed to run away with. And then he transfers and that's how he ends up in Boots, on his little high horse thinking he knows all about life. Like in the flashbacks, they got matching tattoos. That's how they became suspicious of Sullivan as well. That's why they're also investigating if Sullivan is a homosexual. Because remember, it's a crime, so he will literally go to prison because it's like fraud of the government or something. He got matching tattoos with the officer. Semper Fi. Like men. We're men who men, but that don't make us less of men. Semper Fi! They were gonna run away together. And then Sullivan, the big, whiny little bitch coward, decides to ghost the man he was supposed to love. He abandons him for the Marine. Ugh. Oh, Eric, but it was the 90s and it was different. I don't give a fuck. You stand by the man that you are supposed to love. You stand by the person that you literally get a matching chest tattoo with. And though he goes through some character growth at the end, he runs off to God knows where. If we get a season 2, I guess we'll find out. But I don't think it redeems him from what he did, because then the officer that he was sleeping with actually did get arrested. Like he actually did go to prison. And here is Sullivan yelling at a bunch of kids because he's frustrated. You little bitch. And perhaps the best character of this entire show, the late arrival Jones, who moves into Ochoa's bunk after his untimely passing. Jones was the breath of fresh air that we needed. A fellow closeted gay who is a lot more sure of himself, confident, doesn't take things too seriously, and is desperate to leave this camp. He's so desperate to leave the camp that he accepts Sullivan's offer to secretly mess with Cameron. I'm not going to condone it, but you know, someone's got to do what they got to do in exchange for a medical discharge. That, of course, leads them down to having a fight in front of everyone, and then Cameron Cope does lose his marbles when Jones says don't be so faggoty about it, which I get it. And then Cameron beats the shit out of him, and it's bad. It's ugly. Jones, it wasn't his best moment, but I liked the character because I liked what the character could say and could be. There were some other characters, but all in all, it's a good show. And I think, you know, if you've watched this entire video, there's still plenty for you to watch and to take away from the show. It's a show I wouldn't expect a season 2 out of because it is based on a memoir, but given the ending of season 1, it's very much open enough to justify a season 2. And I think that if the series is successful enough, there will be a season 2. And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this video, make sure to leave it a like down below. And if you didn't like it, make sure to leave it a like down below as well. I wouldn't want you to feel lonely. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, though if you're still watching, then you have to be subscribed. And yeah, that's it. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, stay stuttering. Bye, guys. I'm just gonna keep talking because now is like the end screen. So if you want to subscribe, or if you want to like something, or if you want to just check out a different playlist, there's a few links. Feel free to explore. Go crazy. Go like bananas. Oh, there's a ghost in my house.